some things in life are certain: death, taxes, and the Simpsons predicting the future.
I looked into your future and I saw death.
Created by Matt Groening in 1989, the show has been on our screens for more than 3 decades, making it the longest-running American sitcom of all time. From predicting the cost of living crisis in the UK to having Donald Trump as a US president, the writers quite clearly know something that we don't, and whether it's merely a massive coincidence or a grand conspiracy theory remains up for debate. The fact that several of the Simpsons' chilling predictions have seemingly come true this year has only added fuel to the fire of the long-standing discussion which often haunts the internet. Before we jump into what the Simpsons have predicted will happen in 2024, let's quickly take a look at a string of key events that have hijacked the headlines throughout the last 12 months, also played out in the Simpsons universe ahead of time. To start us off, the 2006 episode titled Homer's Paternity Coot seemingly foreshadowed the devastating events that unfolded when the ill-fated Titanic sub made its doomed voyage in June this year. It shows Homer heading on an intrepid adventure as he tries to uncover the sunken treasure ship by the name the Piso Mojado alongside his long-lost father Mason Fairbanks in a submarine, just like how victims 48-year-old Shahzada Dawood and his teenage son Suleiman headed to explore the Titanic wreckage. The Simpsons characters end up separated while below the surface, and when Homer gets lost, his submersible worryingly starts flashing an oxygen low sign, which then swiftly changes to oxygen gone. He passes out but thankfully wakes up in hospital 3 days later. Tragically, in real life, the Titan sub imploded during its descent and all 5 passengers on board passed away. The cartoon's classics writer-producer Mike Race had also coincidentally been on 3 expeditions with OceanGate himself, but later on said the episode was inspired by the 1996 film Crimson Tide. He said that they didn't predict the future and that they just did it off that movie, and 20 years later, something like that happened. Well, okay, we accept that explanation, but how would he explain the Simpsons apparently anticipating the Barbie craze taking over the world in 2023? Loyal fans will remember the 1994 episode Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy, where Lisa launches a campaign to get the creators of the Malibu Stacy doll to make a better role model for young girls. The original toy utters phrases such as "math is hard" or "don't ask me, I'm just a girl," which obviously doesn't sit well with Lisa, so she gets its designer Stacy Lovell to produce a more feminist empowering toy called Lisa Lionheart. The inspiring figurine is released and instantly becomes a big hit, and the Simpsons resident newsreader Grant Brockman is urged by his daughter to do a segment on Lisa's doll, which soon becomes important news and a fascinating subject which he spends 28 minutes waffling on about, just like Greta Gerwig's Barbie film did. However, the creators of Malibu Stacy see Lisa's doll as a real threat and release a new one to bury Lisa Lionheart. To Lisa and Lovell's dismal, the new Malibu Stacy, which is just the old one wearing a new hat, is wheeled in front of Lisa's doll display, with little girls opting for Malibu Stacy instead. Margot Robbie's starring role in Barbie helped bring the iconic doll back to the forefront of kids' minds, proving once and for all that she will always be that toy which will never die, just like Malibu Stacy. Moving on swiftly, the cartoon sitcom predicted the rise of Donald Trump in the political sphere, but they also seemingly predicted his epic fall from grace as well. In the same episode, which has strange parallels to the Barbie's film success, Kent Brockman also has some other news to share, but he only quickly spits it out after finishing his nearly 30-minute spiel as he's wrapping up the night's news, and using the majority of his airtime to discuss the new doll on the market. The presenter casually adds, "Oh, and the president was arrested." Kent's last-minute admission may have gone over the heads of some fans of The Simpsons, but others spotted that it seemed to foretell Donald Trump's arrest and charge in August 2023 amid an election interference case. Although the episode didn't explicitly state the businessman was the president who had been led away in handcuffs, viewers put 2 and 2 together and added it to the list of eerie coincidences. However, the unnamed president in the show show was arrested for murder rather than accusations of attempting to overturn election results in Georgia and allegedly paying hush money to an adult entertainment star like Trump. But hey, it's close enough to make the list. It's been quite a whirlwind throughout 2023, but one of the most bizarre additions to last year's wacky occurrences is Elon Musk's decision to completely rebrand Twitter after he took it over in October 2022. Has he not heard the saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it? Anyway, he decided to get rid of the iconic blue bird as well as the social media platform's well-known name in favor of a new logo and moniker, X. It came as a shock to a lot of dedicated social media users, although it was hardly surprising that Musk had opted for a complete shakeup of Twitter to make it his own. But the Simpsons were one step ahead as per usual, as seen in a 2012 episode titled Ned and Edna's Blend. As always, Homer is at the center of it, and this time he is seen scrolling on his phone. If you look closely, you can have a gander at what kind of apps Springfield Nuclear Power Plant's finest worker has on his device, and one might stick out to you. That's because many believe that it looks suspiciously similar to the logo design that Musk went with for X. Now, fans of The Simpsons are often left on the fence about the show's ability to predict things, but this one really was an open and shut case of life imitating art.
Well, there he is. Michelangelo's Dave.
David.
Cast your mind back to the 1990 episode titled Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. In this episode, Marge is on a mission to get rid of violence from the TV show her kids love, The Itchy and Scratchy Show, as Maggie is repeating the behavior she watches. Her campaign eventually blows up, prompting thousands of other angry parents to share their grievances about things they don't find appropriate for their offspring to be watching. Marge's ragtag gang of moms and dads then set their sights on boycotting the traveling exhibition of Michelangelo's sculpture of David, which is doing a whistle-stop tour of Springfield. One parent tells the blue-haired mom it is an abomination, while raging that it's filth and it graphically portrays parts of the human body, which, practical as they may be, are evil, even though Marge thinks it's a masterpiece. Well, a similar situation unfolded in real life early this year when school kids in Tallahassee, Florida were shown a picture of the iconic sculpture by an art teacher and their parents lost their rags. People complained that their children had been exposed to an indecent photograph in the name of art and history and were upset by it. The principal of Tallahassee Classical School ended up resigning after all the backlash. Now, to prove that marine animals hadn't been affected by the pollution being pumped into the waters off the Fukushima coast and that the seafood was safe to eat, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida had to eat a fish which had been caught from the alleged radioactive waters. He said it was a safe and very delicious snack, although other people were more wary, especially loyal watchers of The Simpsons who took heed of a 1990 episode. In the episode entitled 2 Cars in Every Garage and 3 Eyes on Every Fish, Mr. Burns munches on a 3-eyed fish which is believed to have suffered garish mutations due to pollution in the water from his nuclear power plant. The ridiculously rich and menacingly mean businessman is running for governor of Springfield, and so he decides to have the public on his side and therefore goes to drastic lengths to convince people he hasn't caused any harm. The fish, aptly named Blinky, is served up by the Simpsons family for Mr. Burns, and he takes a bite out of it in front of rows of cameras and press, just like how Japan's Prime Minister did. You know you're in a mess when you're turning to Mr. Burns' playbook for tips on how to wriggle out of a scandal. And now for 2024, here are some more predictions from The Simpsons that are either becoming a reality or could become a reality in 2024. In this episode, Homer loses his job after boss Mr. Burns replaces all employees at the nuclear power plant with robots. With the way robots are already working in factories and the advancements of AI, do you think they will continue taking jobs in 2024? In another Simpsons episode dubbed Virtual Reality Food, Homer and Marge are feeding virtual fudge through a straw placed on the back of their virtual reality headsets. Although this sounds pretty impossible, virtual reality reality companies such as Aero Banquets RMX allow users to explore what it would feel like to dine in the digital world. According to their website, they claim that they are able to provide an immersive, multi-sensorial, multi-course meal in mixed reality. The guests get to explore, eat, and engage with a whimsical world that alternates between dystopia and hope. In this next classic Simpsons episode titled Baby Translator, we witness Homer's brother Herb Poyle for the second time after his life gets ruined thanks to his half-brother. To rectify Homer taking away his business, Herb invents the Baby Translator, which is exactly what it sounds like. In real life, a company called Soundream claims to have developed a product that somehow uses AI to determine what babies want when they cry. You really can't make this stuff up. Now, while scientists say the closest black hole to Earth is 1,560 light years away, the Simpsons have predicted the worst in a Treehouse of Horror episode. Eventually, the black hole sucked out all of Springfield and only Maggie survived. Scientists continue to assure us that although the odds of Earth getting swallowed by a black hole, or any solar system planet for that matter, are low, it's definitely a real possibility. I feel like we've been waiting for cars that fly for a while now, and in this episode, Bart and Lisa witness what the future looks like for the Simpsons family. In the future, Homer and Bart travel around the city in their hover cars without any tires, which sounds quite handy to beat morning traffic. Now, you best believe that a company named Samsung Sky is expected to begin deliveries of its Switchblade flying car in 2024, but I'm curious as to what kind of license one will need to drive a car like this. In one of the Simpsons episodes, we witness Bart receiving a hologram message inviting his band to a gig at the club. Holograms have been around for a while now, but will they become more common than before? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. In one of my favorite episodes from 1994 titled Itchy and Scratchy Land, robots seemingly take over the theme park and cause absolute havoc in the process. With the progression of AI, who knows if robots will be able to self-function without the help of a human. But just think about it for a second. What will happen if a super intelligent AI, smarter than most intelligent human beings, were to one day go rogue? I hope there's a bunch of researchers working day and night to make sure we never find out. The Simpsons fans might remember when Bart, Nelson, Milhouse, and Ralph formed a boy band. Producers will send a subliminal message via the lyrics of their music, which will control the minds of the public in the process. This reportedly happened during World War II, when the US used weapon propaganda through cinema channels.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III!
In 1987, before the release of the mainstream series, The Simpsons aired a special episode on the Tracy Ullman Show, which sees Homer repeatedly pranking his family with World War III scares. But to be honest, a world war would require two large alliances that are fundamentally opposed to each other and primed to start fighting. I mean, it has to be alliances because otherwise, it's just a normal 1v1 war and not a world war. As of now, only one such alliance exists in the world, and that is NATO. Also, the existence of nuclear weapons powerfully inhibits any aggressions against their owners. This is called deterrence and is the reason that during the long years of the Cold War, there never was a world war.
There's going to be a third world war, After World War III, who knows what's left after World War III?
And finally, Krusty the Clown's fast food sandwich transforms news anchor Kent Brockman into an enraged zombie, and 28 days later, cannibal zombies have overrun Springfield. Now, chances are that a zombie apocalypse is low on the list of possible concerns that we need to give our attention to, and this is also because the mechanisms that make mobility, sight and hearing work are all compromised, and hence there is no way zombies could actually move, see or hear, let alone bite and swallow. But then again, I could be wrong. I mean, what do you guys think? Comment down below on what predictions you think the Simpsons will get right in 2024, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.
Ooh, how did you survive?
Well, as a vegetarian, I did not consume any tainted burgers, and as a convenience store owner, I am armed to the teeth.